Trade Team. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to yet another edition of the London stream. Looking forward to seeing what we can come up with moving forward here today on the charts. Always, guys. Now that time to get this show on the road. So let's get started, guys. Without any further ado, as always, good morning, good afternoon, very good evening, no matter where we are around the world. Welcome to another edition of the London stream. Hope you've all had a good week on the charts. Been a bit of a tricky one, to be honest. Was on the charts yesterday with my team, moving into the NY Open when Trump came out for tweets in regards to tariffs, the deal being done with China. So made the markets move a little bit unpredictably. So interesting to see how it went. But nonetheless, guys, obviously we'll have a look what we can come up with moving forward here today. As always, we'll have a look at gold, we'll have a look at pound yen, and any other charts or pairs as per request. So guys, if you could, without further ado, don't forget TikTok, please smash that screen for me on YouTube, hit that like button. Any charts or any questions, guys, once again, I will get to you guys shortly. In the meantime, let's quickly take a look at the news, and there is some high impact news to come shortly here and for the Great British Pound. So we've got GDP to come shortly. The forecast is anticipated for it to be a negative, so less than the previous and below zero. So off the back of that, we could anticipate potential weakness in the pound. So perhaps that's something to look out for on the pound yen moving forward. But as we all know on this stream, we do not trade the news. We wait for it to first of all release, and then we wait to see how the charts react to it. So that's what we will be doing yet again here today, guys. But let's get started. And let's have a look at the usual. Let's have a look at the gold and start with obviously the weekly time frame to begin. And what we can see here, guys, is we are forming a very strong bullish candle on the weekly. We have respected the low of that previous weekly candle, and we are now approaching the high. So likely what I'm going to be looking for at the back of the strength of the current weekly candle is to see what sort of levels we have previously formed on the move to the upside on more so the minor time frames, that being the 30, the 15, but also I will have a look at the 4 hours as well, just to see what levels we have got if we do pull back. And those levels, what we want to see is we want to see price respect those levels, form support, and look for buys to potentially retest the high. All of those levels could also provide some potential entry points to the downside. So making our way onto the daily time frame here, and what we can see is we are forming, once again, forming a strong bullish candle, and we have a high low, higher high to the previous candle. We do know that structure is technically bullish, but we're not so concerned by the structure in a higher time frame here. Seeing we're only scalping, we're more concerned by the direction of the candle itself against the previous candle as well. So what we can see is we have a high low, higher high. What we can also see is we have no lower wick. You guys know exactly how I feel about that. We don't necessarily need to create that lower wick, so long as any pullback within the current daily candle is met by previous levels of support formed on the way up, and we do form support yet again in those levels, and there is a high probability we will continue to push bullish. So off the back of that, but what we can see here on the daily is that we are at a level of resistance, so it is a potential rejection point also on the daily. So therefore we will mark in the current daily candles low and see what we've got below that level. So sorry, let me put that back in. Now let's make our way down to the 4 hour time frame, guys, and what we can see here is the 4 hour. Structurally, it's still bullish the way I see things. As I mentioned yesterday, we did not close above this swing point here. We did break above it, about to close above it. Therefore, this is still the highest leg of the impulse to the upside. This is the origin of that swing, so therefore, as long as we remain above this level and continue to respect the high close below this high, we are technically, all this in between is technically bullish. And what we can see is we are also forming structure within the actual 4 hour structure itself to the upside. So we're creating a series of high lows, higher highs. We've just broken through a resistance on the 4 hour. So let's just mark in the current daily candles high here as well and see what we've got above that point there. We'll also mark in, as we normally do, we start to mark in our levels of support and resistance here, starting on the 4 hour time frame. So marking resistance As far as support, I think I'll wait until the M30, seeing we are a fair distance away from the support here, back at 33.24. Now onto the 30-minute time frame, guys. And what we can see is, so obviously we've formed some resistance at the current daily candles high. It does look pretty clean on the M30, but wait till we drop down to the 15. The 15 may suggest otherwise. We're also going to mark in support at this point here. Now, just below we have the daily candle open. So the back of that, if prices to begin to pop below the support here, what we're likely going to do at that point there is actually pull back down to create the lower wick on the daily. Will that provide us some potential sell options? We'll go through that shortly. We'll just go down to the 15-minute time frame, have a look what we got here. And so what we can see is, what I want to focus in on, guys, is here to the left. Got this resistance just here, which basically leads straight into another level. So off the back of that, it's not all that clean to the left hand side here, above the current daily candles high. However, irrespective of that, we are trending strong bullish. We do have daily candle probabilities, 4-hour candle probabilities. We're creating high low structure within the daily candle to the upside. So if we were to get a really strong closure above, now we are rejecting currently, so I really want to see a nice strong convincing closure above. As long as we retest, begin to pull away from that zone, we may perhaps be able to get involved in a buy option. So back of that, we'll be looking for potential buys above that point there. Now further options to the upside, guys. So if price was to once again pull back within the current daily candle, looking to the left, this is the most recent level of, well, actually this is the most recent level of support, but we'll focus on this level. If price was to pull back down to that 33.64, 63, 62 sort of region and provide a signal within price action at that point there, I would also look for my options to take a buy back up towards the current daily candles high. So buys upon the pullback, obviously, guys, you want to see it create a clean pullback. If it just begins to consolidate and slowly trickle back to the downside, then it's a matter of just waiting for this range to be completely wiped out, where price just creates some clean moves and starts to trend within it. And at that point there, we may be able to pick up some sells from resistance or buys from support. But if it tends to consolidate, we're just going to need to sit tight and wait for price to dictate and make the move. To the downside, guys, let's talk about what we could look for now in regards to any sell. So any sells at this rate will be counter trend. However, what we can see is, once again, if we begin to break this support, it will actually flip the 15-minute structure. Not yet the M30. However, off the back of that, once again, if we were to begin to pop below the most recent support, at that point there's a high probability we will pull back down to create that lower wick on the daily time frame. So this is the most recent level of support. If we were to continue bullish, don't really have much of a need to pop back below that point there. So long as we get the closure below, so long as we get the retest, then I will look to take a sell in anticipation. At that point, price is likely going to pull back to create that lower wick on the daily time frame. So that is gold, guys. I hope make of that what you will. One thing for sure, make sure to smash that screen, TikTok, YouTube, smash that like button, and we can quickly now turn our attention to pound yen. I'll get to you guys in the chat shortly. In the meantime, let's take a look at the GJ. And what we can see is here, starting at the weekly time frame, still obviously we've got the higher high, higher low, but we are now pulling back and forming bearish. So candle probabilities to the upside, but the actual candle itself is forming bearish. So a little bit conflicting the story here on the weekly time frame. Now onto the daily. So what we can see now in the daily time frame is, this is where it starts to suggest that maybe we could be looking for options to sell it. We have tapped into resistance here on a high time frame, so that's obviously a key level. We have so far rejected it. Not only that, we now have a lower high, lower low on the daily time frame. The candle probabilities were broken all of the previous daily candles high. Off the back of that, in my opinion, there is a high probability we could continue to the downside, unless we are at a key level here on the 4 hour, which we will see in just a moment if we are or not. So daily structure is technically bullish, but the counter probabilities are at the minute to the downside. Now onto the 4-hour time frame here, and what we can see is on the 4-hour once again we are bearish. Yesterday we did flip the structure bearish. Tuesday, sorry, flip the structure bearish. We since remained bearish. What we did do was retest the last significant lower high here on the 4-hour time frame, only to reject, and therefore we do remain bearish. We've got the news being released just now, guys, so we will have a look at that shortly. I will continue on with the analysis for the time being. So this is the most recent support. We'll include that bearish candle wick, and we'll see what it looks like on the 30-minute time frame. So off the back of that, now the 30-minute time frame is also bearish, guys. So my bias is definitely to the downside. However, irrespective of my bias being to the downside, what we also need to consider is where we are, where we currently are on the chart, and we are honing in on where we right now tapping into the 4-hour support. So therefore, I'm not going to be selling into support. It would make absolutely no sense whatsoever to do so. So I'm just going to have to patiently wait for one of a few options here on GJ. So obviously the most recent resistance formed within the daily candle on the move to the downside is this 195.50 sort of level. So if price was to begin to retrace to that point there, I would obviously be waiting to see how price reacts to that level and look for a potential option to take a sell off the back of the actual bias being to the downside. So sells upon the pullback. Now, otherwise, guys, GJ is going to be quite difficult here. I did mention it to my members before the stream. That's going to be a little bit difficult on GJ today. Reason being is because the bias is very bearish. However, we are now at that 4-hour support. Just below that 4-hour support, we're running into some more traffic to the left. So we are at a pretty key level here on GJ. So off the back of that, I would not be opposed to the buy options. However, you would need to really wait for a strong confirmation. And in this instance, what that confirmation would be, and it's not going to happen on stream, guys, is waiting for the 4-hour at the 4-hour support to close back bullish. Within that 4-hour candle, what you want to see is a bit of structure start to form to the upside on the minor time frame, and that could be your catalyst to start looking for options to take a buy from the support. So that's likely to be later on, closer to MY session, if anyone is trading into MY. So off the back of that, I'm likely just gonna be waiting for GJ to pull back if it does give me the option, and look for sells to the upside. Now, I just don't see anything above this resistance as well. You're running straight into some wicks here to the left. It really is not clean. So once again, I'd just be looking, if price did begin to pop up, I'd be looking for rejection of these levels here to the left-hand side. But my focus today, as per the usual, shock horror, gold. I'll be looking mainly at gold here today. So guys, hopefully that is all understood. In the meantime, let me say good day to one and all in the chat. First of all, to everyone on YouTube, once again, appreciate all the support. Mark, yep, fix that. Gabby, Franco, Byron, when trading your playbook, does the setup determine your direction, discretion, or is it down to purely price action? Well, it just depends on how price reacts, excuse me, so I lost my train of thought. It just depends on what signals I get within price action, and what I do is I need to react to that. So yes, it will be based on my playbook, because that is the data I've accumulated and the price action patterns that I am familiar with. And if that was to present on the chart while I was obviously viewing the chart, then I would take an entry off the back of that. So hopefully that does answer your question. Carl, good morning to you. TikTok. Let me say g'day to everyone and have a look through the chat. Any questions, guys? Feel free to ask any questions. If you'd like me to look at any pair for you, let me know. Mark, good morning to you. Caught 420 pips yesterday. Nice work. Sakura, good morning to you. Good to man. gold. Yes, this is gold. Heard an interesting fact about gold today, which I'll share with you guys shortly. Marquez 92, welcome to you. Yep, been through gold. Marquez by TP 3378.49. 3378. There's area on 15-minute. I mean, that's a potential level that price could tap into and reject. These wicks here to the left-hand side. So that's, yeah, something to be obviously wary of. Excuse me, guys. Still got the issue trying to clear my throat from this nasty cold that's been going around here in Oz. Gunterman selling gold, okay. 33.70. What about gold? Yep. No weakness. Looking for sell. Well, wait for confirmation. The range I can wait to you. Find a 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame. Well, the 4 hours just closed, so, and there wasn't a great deal of volume on that previous candle. But what we do have is a high, low, high, high. If we were to begin to break the high of that previous 4-hour candle, knowing we are approaching a higher time frame, a higher time of volume, approaching that London Open in the next 50, 53, 54 minutes, then perhaps, I mean, that could provide an option, but you need to now wait for a nice closure above, in my opinion. Like I said before, on the minor time frame, a really strong, convincing closure above, price tap back in, and that could be enough for some buy options moving forward. Zoom link, I will send that to my team just now. Apologies, guys. All right, link's been sent. Dojang more to you. My weakness buyers are in control. Yep, at the minute. In my opinion, it's very bullish. Sakura been over gold. You missed it. So pretty much looking for a price to pull back to this support. We are in a big strong uptrend here on gold. We've got the daily counter probabilities, the 4-hour counter probabilities to the upside. So what I'm looking for now is either price to pull back to retest support. I should say buys above YouTube. Got the wrong indicator there. So if price was to pull back to the most recent support form within the current daily candle, then I'd be looking for a buy back above the support. And otherwise, I want a strong, convincing closure above. I want price to retest this zone. As we begin to pull away and pop above our catalyst candle high, we could look for options to buy it off the back of that. Further options would be potential sells if we do in fact pop below this support. If we were to continue bullish, we don't really have much of a need to pop below the support. If we do so, pull back, tap back in, there's a high probability we're going to end up creating that low wick on the daily time frame. So off the back of that, I would be considering options to take a sell. Sakura, do you trade crypto? Look, I do look into it. I more hold crypto as opposed to trade it. To be honest, the way I trade price action, so long as you're trading on a broker with liquidity, I don't see it being an issue. It should work. From what I've seen on Bitcoin, it does move pretty much the same as any other Forex pair, except for the fact it's got a lot of volume. Similar to gold as well. So I can't see why it wouldn't work. Baby girl, good morning to you. Stanley Dean, how do you join your team? You're more than welcome to click the link on my profile page, mate. It's all there. Just quickly, guys, just wanted to mention something, an interesting fact that I learned today about gold. For those who are coming onto the stream on the daily saying it's bearish, gold's going to make a massive pullback, we're heading back down to 2000, 1300. Have a think about this. What I heard today was, for every ounce of registered physical silver or gold, there is currently 1.5 paper contracts. And you might ask, what's the significance of that? Well, previously it was up around 5, and that was quite recently. So what that tends to suggest is that the US, the bullion banks, such as JP Morgan, those sort of banks is starting to repatriate their gold. Now, why they might be doing that? Maybe they know something about the treasury potentially reevaluating gold to its current spot price or even higher. Now, currently the US Treasury values gold at, I think it's $42 an ounce. So if they were to reevaluate it to the current spot price, it's not exactly going to wipe out their debt, but what if they were to reevaluate it at something a lot higher? Have a think of that. Either that, or is that an indication that perhaps the dollar may once again be backed by gold? Have a think of that. So in my personal opinion, for those who say gold is fundamentally bearish, I have no idea where you're coming up with that, to be honest. That to me is a big sign to suggest that we could really continue to levels that probably some people wouldn't have even thought about. I've been calling for gold to be up around that 4K mark at some point this year. Look, I will not be surprised if it goes beyond that. And for the future, I do believe gold will continue well and truly to the upside. I think 5K is at some point it's gonna happen, and I think into the future 10K is inevitable on gold. That's just my opinion of it. I do respect everyone's opinion. Still, yep, Leon. So have a think about that, guys. Are the US going to reevaluate gold? Are the Treasury, are they going to reevaluate gold? Or are they going to use it to back the currency yet again? Sakura, do I use leverage? Yeah, yes, I do use leverage. Here in Australia, we're under ASIC regulations, so leverage for me is 1 to 30, but that, to be honest, is plenty. If you're trading and using proper risk management, you should not need to worry so much about leverage. Stanley, thank you for the stickers. Durison 999, thank you for the stickers. Guys, feel free to ask any questions. If you'd like me to look at any pair for you, let me know. Visal, hello to you. Good afternoon. Sapphire Red Stones, gold I'm buy at 33.73, stop loss 69. Okay. At least you have a plan and you have a stop loss, which is good because a lot of you don't think about your stop loss placement. A lot of you don't even place stop losses, which is very reckless in my opinion. So in regards to the stop loss, look, I'm not sure what your confirmation was to take an entry, but I would have the stop loss back below technical level, so a previous candle or this bullish candle, this swing point. But one thing you need to be wary of, my friend, is we've tapped into a target. We've tapped into the resistance formed at the daily candle high. So you're kind of now in amongst consolidation. So for me, I don't feel it's an area to get involved in a trade. So if you are in it, at least, yeah, the good thing is you do have a stop loss placement, and trust that if price was to actually hit your stop loss, it's there for a reason. It's there to protect you, because it could end up pulling all the way back down to 33, 64, 65, that sort of region. Leyland, if they reevaluate gold to today's price, US has about 850 billion worth. Yeah, it doesn't quite wipe out their treasury debt, but it will make a big hit into it anyway. But what if they reevaluate to even higher? And it's not out of the question. Alright, so quickly, let's take a look at the news, guys. Sorry, I forgot to get back to the news that came out on the pound just recently. Wow, very negative. Extremely negative here. So worse than the forecast and below zero. So obviously little growth coming out of the UK, or no growth. Back of that, what we can see is the pound yen has moved to the downside. We're now at 4-hour support, and GU also obviously off the back of that, now making a pretty substantial pullback, which is quite good because I like when we have these clean pullbacks, guys, or clean moves. What it does is open up the range back to the upside. If we make a clean move down, the lower the better. Now if it was to come back down to the support here at 135.380 for instance, and make the clean move back to that point there, what we can see is here on GU on the M30, we are technically bullish on the 30-minute time frame. So if we did pull back to that level, form support back above that point there, once again, it all comes down to price action catalyst. And for those who join my stream on the regular, you will start to know what I mean by the price action catalyst, what you want to see at the predetermined levels of support, resistance, or above or below. Back to the gold, guys. I have a question, G. No weakness, go for it, mate. Dunk, sorry. just burned 3 of my off my express. What is the price action? Not too sure what that question is in regards to, my friend. If you can maybe reword it. No weakness, big respect, thank you. Sakura, how much money is suitable to start? To start, I would suggest going in with whatever you can afford to lose, because the reality is, as a beginner, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make some silly mistakes. You also you got to work out things like such as risk management, which is going to be difficult to determine at the very beginning. So I would suggest whatever you can afford to lose. Reality is you're likely going to lose it. So whether that be $50, $100, $200, a good way to go about it would be to first of all learn to trade an edge. So pick a strategy or an edge that resonates with you, whether it be what I do, well, preferably what I do, or what someone else does, and just learn how to trade the edge. Take your time with it. Maybe start on a demo account. Accumulate data. So what I mean by that is journal your trades. Journal every single trade you take, and what that's going to do is that's going to start to pick up some familiar patterns within your trading. What might work and what might not work. And what I always suggest is what a lot of people do in trading. Well, I think they maybe don't necessarily need to do. They try to fix something that doesn't work or a weakness. What I always suggest is focus on your strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses. Brush those off to the side and focus on what you do correct. So if it's looking for instance, I've said to a few of my guys, where they get unstuck is trying to take the impulse entries, for instance, the breakout trades. So I've said to them, don't trade it. We're not interested in breakout trades. So what you simply need to do is wait for price to close above the next candle to retest, and then you're looking for a potential entry off the back of that. So that's why you need to journal regularly and only go in with exactly what you can afford to lose. So don't go too heavy to begin. Sakura, you're a beginner. Well, as a beginner, I would suggest make sure to follow. Watch me on the daily. I give away a lot of free education on these streams in regards to price action, the way I trade. And if you want to know more, you can always send me a DM. It's yeah, best way to go about things. Stanley Dean, how many trades a day do you average make? How many trades a day do you average? Look, it all depends. Some days I won't take a trade. Some days it's 1 or 2. But again, I have a plan, and in my trading plan, less is more. So what that means is I try to stick to a maximum of about 3 trades of a day. The way I go about things too, I tend to only be on the charts for about 3 to 4 hours max of a day. Because the beauty and reality of trading is you can determine when you want to work. The markets are open 24/5 basically when it comes to obviously commodities, gold, and Forex currency pairs. So if you're trading crypto, it's 24/7. So you can determine the times that suit you. Obviously, you want to start to trade around a time of volume. So those times are generally around session opens or just into, prior to a session, so pre-session. Or yeah, obviously around a session open, the first few hours into a new session. So less is more. I don't treat it like a full-time job, if that makes sense, because if I was to treat it like a full-time job, I'd need to sit here on the charts for 8 to 9 hours off a day, which is quite frankly not what I like to do. So M1 dog, is I.C.T. a fraud? No idea. I don't trade it. I have no idea. I understand a bit of it. I question what is the best fair value gap to use, because there are going to be many everywhere. Whether or not it's a fraud, I cannot comment on that. Bulbasaurus, he lost 3 funded account. Who lost 3 funded account? I.C.T. Mark, I went short at 33.73, stop loss in profit. Okay, interesting. Yep, those rejection candles, fair enough. I would have liked to see a little bit more within it. And plus you're trading it back into consolidation. So for me, there's just no clean area within the current range. But the good news is, currently we are making a nice clean move back down to the support. So what that means is it will make the move back up more probable. We've now cut through some of this consolidation to the left. So what I'd really like to see just now, guys, is for this candle to close relatively strong and tapping into this support. And then I can go down. I'd like to see a confirmation here on the 30-minute. And it could look something like so. So first of all, I want to see the 30-minute closing back a bullish candle. Now, the options are within it. Potentially, the first 15-minute candle may close something like so, for instance. Oh, let me just fix this. I want to do this properly. Free education, guys, so take note. I don't believe anyone goes into so much detail like I do on the streams. Well, anyway, we'll stick to that. We'll stick to that. But I'm going somewhere with this point, guys. Now, let me just clear this. It's never been a strength of mine, the zoom drawings. So if the second M15 was to close engulfing like so, then what that's going to do is close the M30 looking a little bit like this. And within it, we've got a catalyst. We've got the 15-minute closing bullish engulfing to the bearish candle. We're at a level of support. We're respecting structure as well. So long as the new candle creates a low wick and begins to break above the previous candle's high, that could be a potential entry. So there's that. There's also a little bit of a minor resistance forming back at the support, which again, you guys hear me cover it on the daily. If you watch, pay attention. And you know that leads to a probable entry, leads to a quality trade. Stanley, pleasure. Mark, there was my TP. No, well done. Federico, which is the time frame. Time frame is, for the most part, I predominantly focus on the 15-minute. 15, also to 30. I do occasionally look at the 5-minute just to add confluence, but not so much to determine a entry. Olympus Capital, g'day to you. Let's go. Yep. Welcome to the stream. Let me just remove that wick. That horizontal, the daily low. Let me remove that to the upside. So guys, how has the week been? Have you had a good week on the charts? Let me know. It's been quite one for me, to be honest. Had the win on the Monday on stream. I had a bit of a loss yesterday, my first loss for the month, believe it or not. That was a little after the stream, called out with the members. And that was on gold. Nothing big, so still up for the week. But the first loss for the month, been a great start to June. Mount Olympus, pretty quiet as well, one trade on Monday. Yeah, it's been a bit difficult. Obviously, there's quite a lot of high impact news about. Obviously, Trump has been tweeting as well. Potential trade deal between the US and China. Nick trades down 500 live account, wasn't patient enough, and when I was up, I didn't trail stop loss. So that's an issue, guys, and that's something I always say to you on stream is you need to have a plan when it comes to your trade management for both in profit and when it goes against you. Don't be greedy, so have a realistic target. For instance, if you're looking for buys above the resistance here on gold, in my opinion, a realistic target would be that 4-hour level. As soon as you push into some significant profit, consider trailing your stop loss to the entry. Consider securing some partials. You need to have a trade management plan in regards to when price begins to revert and go against you. Again, I've got all that in my playbook, in my course. But just let it be a lesson learnt, mate. That's it. That's all you can do. Move on, journal it. Hunji, you have not lost in a month. That's no. It's this month. I said it was the first loss for this month. Last month there weren't many too. Last month I think there was only about 2. I have gone a month, believe it or not, without taking a loss. I think it was last July or August, something like that. Pretty sure one of those months did not take a loss. But none. Yesterday was crazy. Yeah, with all the news about, with also the tariffs, the deal between the US and China. We were watching it with my team yesterday when the news came out, and just prior to it actually. I actually had a buy limit order here on GJ. And it got so close to tapping in, and then it popped up, and I was just following my rules. As soon as it pops up and flips back bullish, the trade therefore becomes invalid. Reason means because it would have, if it was to pop back down again, it's likely going to close back bearish. The news came out, the tweet came out, and within about 10 seconds of removing my buy limit, shot down, would have tapped right into it, shot up right to the target. Literally all happened within about 20 seconds. It is what it is. The plan was correct. Just the timing just slightly out. For the most part, guys, London session has been pretty ordinary. We haven't had the greatest price action. For the most part, it's been consolidating. It's been very tricky. It's obviously a big test of patience and discipline, which is a very big strength of mine. Mansoor, gold will go down. Potentially, again, I'm not going to predict it's going to go down. I'm going to react. So for me, my reaction point will be if we begin to close below this previous support, that's when I will react and look for an option to take a sell. No weakness, learn to be patient from your streams. Big thanks, appreciate it, my friend. Mark in profit this week, second week profitable in a row for me for the first time. Fantastic. Always good to hear. Although I still have today and tomorrow to get through. Again, just focus on doing things correct, mate. So just be patient with it. Have your plan and react to your plan. Don't get FOMO. Don't jump into anything in between. And you should be right. Very simple. Hanji, do you trade every day? Yeah, Monday to Friday, yes. I am live Monday to Friday. Narendra, bro, trade long and short this week. I think it's fair enough. So long as you have the reason to do so. If your bias was, you know, bearish at the time when you took a sell, then, or you had the right confirmation to take a sell, then all good. Otherwise, for the most part, it's been quite bullish throughout the week. All right, so pound yen is now at obviously the 4-hour support. So the good news is, once again, what we have done is create a nice clean move down. So therefore, if price was to now form support and, like I mentioned before, start to form some structure around this zone and begin to pull away from it, could potentially look at buy options later on into today on GJ here. As I mentioned before, though, I would prefer in this situation, seeing it is in a pretty strong downtrend, I would prefer to see a 4-hour candle closing back bullish. So for the most part, I mean, I know a lot of you won't have the patience to wait for that. So otherwise, you need some structure to begin to form. So higher lows, higher highs. I would preference it on, look at least on the 15, and then look for maybe like an hourly bullish engulfing candle, for instance, and use that as your potential signal. Gold right now, we are right in the middle of the minor range, so just consolidating yet again. Not much at all I can do about gold at the minute. Lau, come to you. Byron, on the recent increase in gold's volatility, is it going to new normal for the asset? Look, from memory, last time Trump was in office, gold was very similar. You'd get these crazy moves, and all off the back of just a little bit of a tweet coming out of the US, coming out of Trump. So I think you can expect it, to be honest. I would be very careful and always have some sort of news provider, or maybe even follow him on Twitter. And just be wary. Have the notifications on, because at any point something could come out from the president's office, and it definitely will impact the market. So what I have found off late, my stop losses are wider because the candles have more volume. So as you guys know, my stop loss levels are usually, if I'm in a buy, below a candle low, if I'm in a sell, below a candle high. Off the back of that, most of these candles have had a lot more volume than what they would have had maybe 12 months ago. So what that means is my stop loss has been wider for the most part. But for the most part, I've had more margin to be trading into as well, which is a good thing as well. But yes, something that I feel could be the norm for quite some time. Visal, can I show EU, please? I will have a look at EU for you. Looks to be in a pretty strong uptrend just now. Obviously, the weekly has a high, low, higher, high. Rejected this level multiple times around that 115, but we're now safely above it. So the back of that, strong bullish. Let's see what we've got within the current weekly candle. Onto the daily time frame, and we are tapping into some resistance here to the left hand side. We do have a high, low, higher, high in the current daily candle. Now, if we were to continue bullish, don't necessarily need to pull back and break our own low. And if we did so, at that point, if we break the support formed at that level, there's a high probability that we are rejecting this resistance once again, and potentially could push further to the downside. Structurally, we are bullish. The 4 hour is also technically bullish. Let's see what we've got to the left. All right, so let's just mark that level in. As we can see here on the 4 hour, we have tapped right into it. So we'll obviously have a support just below the 4 hour resistance, which is potentially a good level for some entries to the downside. We'll see what sort of catalyst, if any, we have below the support. All right, on to the 30. All right, so technically the way I see it, it's bullish on the 30 as well, guys. So that won't flip until back below the current daily candle's low, the support at the daily low. So off the back of that, my preference would be to patiently wait for EU, to pull back down, form support yet again around this 114.80, 114.90, and await a price action catalyst to look for a buy to take it back up. Further options, Once you have the confirmation of the structure flipping bearish after tapping into and rejecting the resistance, then I would also look for my sell options below that point there, 114,790 roughly. So I would preference the buys. Where we currently at, I just don't see any options. You're buying into a 4-hour resistance, you're buying into the daily resistance. It's going to be difficult to the upside. So I'd personally just wait for it to either pull back or reject and look for the sells below upon the confirmation of the 30-minute structure flipping bearish. Byron, how can one deal with minimized confirmation bias? Sometimes I think I tend to skew my analysis to fit confirm setup when backtesting. Well, with that, I suppose that will also depend on where we are on the chart. And if you got minimum confirmation bias, so you mean it's kind of like a neutral bias, like you don't really have, you could trade in either direction, I suppose. I mean, the way I look at it, it's determined more so in 4 time frames. So if it's a 2 versus 2 neutral bias, for me, that will all come down to just simply where we are on the chart. So for instance, if I know gold was neutral in the bias here, I'd just be looking for the closure above and the continuation by sells below. Exact same sort of thing. If we're at the 4-hour resistance and we had a neutral bias, I would favor options to sell. But one thing you need to consider, irrespective of the bias and your catalyst, your confirmation to actually take a trade, is what do we have here to the left? If price action to the left is just choppy, a mess, and you have no margin whatsoever, then a catalyst is not a catalyst. You need to wait for price to create some clean moves up through the mess, and then it becomes a tradable level again. Then once again, you can wait for price to reset, wait for another confirmation back at the resistance, and then take your option, take your opportunity to take a trade. So minimal confirmation bias, if you're talking about a neutral bias, it just all comes down to where we are on the chart and trading it accordingly. Excuse me guys for clearing my throat. I had a coughing fit before the start of the stream. Visal, yep, just went over EU. 54k for. Good morning to you, mate. Hope you are well. Gunter Igor, I would continue to go up, but before should be correction. Be careful using that word should, because then at that point you're anticipating the move, because price could do whatever it wants to do. It doesn't have to do anything. So it doesn't necessarily have to correct before it moves up. It doesn't mean that it can't correct before it moves up. But just what I would suggest is just react to what you see on a chart. That's the best thing you can do. Have a plan. Know the levels you want to get involved in a trade, whether it be to the upside or downside, and just patiently wait for price to get to those levels. Once you approach those levels, you need to ask yourself, what do you want to see? And that will depend on how price approaches. So once again, you'll pick up on a lot of things just by watching the stream. Mount Olympus Capital, CPR on Wednesday kept me out. That's fair enough, my friend. I don't recommend trading the news as well. Really slow the market down. And Manzur, gold will go down. If you're asking my opinion, it's bullish. So long as we respect this support, I believe it may continue to the upside. But again, I'm not going to predict that. I'm not anticipating that. I'm not going to just take a buy because I think that's what will happen. Irrespective of what I think will happen, I need to just wait and react to what I see happening. Vizal, not a problem, my friend. Thank you for your question. No weakness, learn patience from your streams. Big thanks. Yeah, I think I read that, didn't I? Mark, what makes this game so interesting is how different people see confirmations and analysis, and the beauty is we can all be profitable. How often will someone be looking for a sell or calling a sell on stream, and in the meantime I've taken a win on a buy? They've come back to the stream the following day and said I took a win later on the sell, and that's the beauty of trading. There's so many different ways you can skin a cat, but what works for me is simple price action. I don't use indicators. Indicators to me, they're lagging. I use a fib, but you guys see how I use it. I use it differently to what others use it. Others will use it for an entry to determine an entry point upon a pullback. I use it to determine the strength of a candle, to validate whether or not I've got a impulse entry, or if I need to wait, for instance, for another 15-minute candle to close. Once again, you'll see me use the fib if you have the patience to wait around, and if I need to use it, plain and simple, that's how I go about it. All right, GJ is still on the way to the downside, so no correction yet on GJ, guys. Hanji, this is a good point to buy and sell. Right now it's just consolidating. So once again, when we are in pockets of consolidation, what is likely happening is volume is being and liquidity is being built up into the market in order for price to either make a move down or move up. So long as the bias and structure is bullish, I believe it could continue up. But once again, I just react once I have the right confirmation to do so. So I want price to move and leave this consolidation, move out of it, and give me the right confirmation to take a trade. Until I have that, I'm not anticipating nothing. Siddiq, what do you think today about gold? So I've just been over it, mate. For me, I'm bullish on gold. Would like to see pullbacks to support or a nice strong confirmation, a closure well above. Otherwise, sells below this support. At that point, we're likely heading down to create low wick on the daily time frame. Discipline X key, adjusting the bonus 10 times your power in training. You became so powerful, your own haircut couldn't contain the power. Thank you, my friend. The hair decided to part ways and left the station probably about 20 years ago, to be honest. About 15 years ago. Not looked back since, to be honest. I actually prefer it this way. Easy. Suits me. Can be used as a beacon if lost in the middle of nowhere. That's another thing that I'm capable of. So read that. Mark, I tried indicators when I started and was much less successful. Well, when I started, my chart was just like everything under the sun. As many indicators as I could possibly fit on there. All it did was confuse me. That's all it did. I got rid of all the indicators. I used to just look at where price was at in the chart. Just look for little patterns within price action. Things like structure. How's the structure forming? So personally, I joined obviously a group. I was previously in another education group, in an education group, and I was a mentor for that group for the best part of 2 years. I was previously a student for about 2 years. And we did not use indicators. In the first group that ever joined, it was all about indicators, but that was more swing trading. It just confused the crap out of me. That's all it did. So for me, what began to work was just keeping things simple. So literally, I've mentioned it many times, I could trade this without any issue. Just the naked chart with no zones, nothing. And at times, if I trade by myself, I do. I just know exactly, well, I know roughly where we're at. I look to the left and see what we potentially have to the left. I know what sort of signal or price action catalyst I'm to look for. And that comes with years and years of experience, guys. It's not something you can just click your fingers and you understand overnight. It takes time. It takes enormous amount of discipline. And you need to commit to the cause. I mean, how many times I've been close to giving up back at the beginning? The first maybe 3 years of my journey. You just got to stick with it. You got to commit a certain amount of time each day. Watch the charts. Pick up on some familiar patterns within price action, if that's the way you want to go about it. Price action, like what I do. You're going to start to see some things that happen. Obviously, when we don't have wicks, you guys know how I feel about that on the minor time frames in regards to taking entries. That all comes with just time on the charts and seeing the same thing happen over and over again. That's pretty much it. Narendra, bro, trust me, trading with, I have not lost even one trade. I was losing big time. Thanks, bro. God bless you. Oh, since trading me on stream. Nice one, brother. Good to hear. Danielle, how do I see long-term trend on GJ? Long-term trend on GJ. Okay, interesting one. Well, long-term trend, well, that means you need to look at the high time frame picture. And for me, I see, if I was to look at the structure on the weekly time frame, I actually see it as bearish. I see the weekly time frame is bearish. It does have potential room for a little bit of a deeper pullback towards that 199 sort of region. Let me have a look at the monthly time frame as well. All right, the monthly might suggest otherwise though, but it is at resistance here, so potential level of rejection. So I still would favor the sells off the back of that. Daily structure, I do actually see it as bullish. So it's a bit of a conflicting story here on the higher time frame picture. I would still favor the sells so long as price remains below the daily resistance here. And just depends, like if you're looking for a swing trade, I mean, you can almost be in a sell on a swing trade, but it is creating some high lows, high highs. The structure is bullish, so that, to be honest, yeah, it all comes down, in my opinion, to 190, 190, because at that point you're going to flip the daily structure in line with the weekly structure. So long as it remains between that level and the current resistance, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be really tricky. I would look for the buys upon the pullback to that level on the higher time frame, and continuation buys above the high. Otherwise, in regards to actual price action, if this daily closed bearish engulfing, I'd be looking to sell it personally. But again, I'm not a swing trader. Hopefully that does give you a little bit of an idea. Arafin, g'day to you. Welcome. Another regular. Billy, no room for hair cells. Brain cells, push them out. That's 100% right. Although sometimes the brain cells also tend to leave the building for a bit. They come back, but they do leave for a bit at times. Anthony, no train today. This price action is BS. It is at the minute. You're not wrong. Definitely not wrong. Bjorn, do you, I think you mean consider the opening of gold trade at 820 to 920? Do you consider? It just depends on what broker you use too. So gold closes from, if I'm not mistaken, is it 8 a.m. to 9? You could be correct, to be honest, 820 to 920. I'm not on the charts for it either way, ever at that point. New York. Oh, New York. So you're talking about the COMEX Open, which is at 8:20 a.m. The New York Stock Exchange Open is, I think it's 9:30 a.m. and the currency market opens at 8 a.m. So that's why you've often got a lot of volatility throughout the first couple hours of New York session, because you got 3 different markets opening within it. You got the currency market, you got the COMEX, and then you got the stock exchange open. All about patience, guys. Patience, patience, patience. How about you guys? Anyone currently running any trades at the minute? Let me know.
Hey, good morning, Justin.
How are you, mate? How's things?
I'm okay, thank you, and you?
All good. Yeah, all good, mate. Had a little bit of a coughing fit before the start of the stream, so...
A what?
Coughing fit. I just couldn't stop coughing for about 10 minutes. Got something stuck in the throat and was having an apple and it went down the wrong side, so...
Okay.
But still trying to clear it, but it's all good, better now. How about yourself? You looking at GU, are you, or EU?
Yeah, I'm looking on. I sent the chart into the.
Oh, into the group. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe if you want to open it. So
Yeah.
I see it at the end bullish.
Okay. Yeah, you got a level here. That's.
Yeah. We have level there, and maybe if we are closing below this level, I'm maybe also willing to take a sell, even if I'm bullish.
Okay. Yeah. It's back below some resistance as well.
Yeah, because also of the negative news that we have.
Yep, that's also another thing.
It was very negative. But coming to the support and resistance H4, I would take sells and buys in these areas.
Okay, fair enough. Yep, completely fair enough. Yeah, so it is a 4-hour level. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the same plan I'd probably be going with. Is there an option to sell it shortly? Let's just take a look at it. If the 15 closes bearish, engulfing this support, it's going to close the M30 below come London Open. The hourly will close below as well. I think that'd be a pretty strong catalyst to look for a sell option for those who do trade GU at London Open.
Yeah. And in back of, because we have the negative news, we have.
Yep, in the back of the negative views for sure.
So could be maybe valid to take a sell in this area.
Yep, I agree. Definitely agree. Excuse me. Sells do look pretty good on GU. On the other hand, gold is golding. Consolidating, guys. Patience, patience, patience. Patience pays.
Correct.
Does, mate. You and I both know it. Bjorn, New York. Yep. Arafin, GJ short swing trade. I don't think it's the worst idea, to be honest. Maybe even if you were to wait for like a 4-hour to close below support here, if you would drag that down just a little bit more, that would be a pretty strong confirmation as well. Is it flipping any structure on a 4-hour at that point? It's already bearish, sorry. Yeah, the 4-hour, the way I actually see it, it is technically bearish. Jashio looking for sell entries on, we talking about gold here, or I'm just waiting for price to make its way out of this consolidation, to be honest, and then gonna look to pick up the pieces. So again, I'm not gonna be the shark, you know, swimming out of the consolidation, out of the reef, trying to find a big catch. I'm gonna be the little feeder fish, or the little nurse fishes that hang on the back of the shark, picking off the parasites, or waiting for the scraps. That's what I'm gonna be doing, because I'm not gonna predict the move, guys. You predict the move, you're likely going to get burnt, because many times here what we can see is these wicks price look like it was potentially going to break, only for it to pop back down. Here, all these wicks. At the minute, I'd have nothing yet to give me the confidence that if we've begun to break again, it's going to be the one to make the move. I'm fully aware and understand the fact that it could just go straight up to the resistance and I'm not in it. Actually happened yesterday right after the stream, guys. Well, remember, it was very similar yesterday on stream, waiting for price to leave consolidation. I ended the stream and about 5 minutes later shot up like so. There was no entry. So Jen loved the shark analogy. Thank you, my friend. Jashiro, gold, okay. So it sells on gold.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, put your hand to the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short.
Alright, so we got approximate wood just coming on to 3 minutes now until session open, guys. So let's wait and see. Is gold gonna close above here in the next 3 minutes? It does have volume, obviously it can move quickly, so we're not writing it off just yet, but we want it to close strongly above, and if it does, we will contemplate some options to buy it at London Open. If not, we just once again need to hold tight, need to sit on our hands and wait patiently.
They wanna sing my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact, and I don't feel no shame. It's a mood you lack. I go crazy.
Brian Emman went long on gold at 33.73.263 based on M30 support, target 20 pips. Nice one. Yeah, maybe support on your broker. I see the M30 support as that point there, but for me, there'd be no margin to buy it from that level. So I would have rather it for it to come back down to 33.64 and bounce off that point there. But nonetheless, you are in some profit, so just be careful knowing that we are coming to London Open. Perhaps consider, and we are tapping into the resistance yet again, so perhaps consider being at break even and securing some partials. Justin A.C.T. Nice name, mate. Just joined. What we looking for here? So gold, we're just consolidating, excuse me, at the minute. So I'm just patiently waiting for price to dictate where we're going to move, and if we do close above, I potentially could be looking at some buy options on gold. If we eventually close below the support, what we're likely going to do at that point there is eventually come back down to create low wick on the daily candle. So off the back of that, I could look for options to take a sell. In the meantime, we're just waiting. Brian closed half profits, move stop loss to break even. Nice one. That's a man for plan. Good work. Good work, my friend. TikTok, guys, if you could, don't forget to smash that screen for me. A few less viewers today. Amen. Exactly, mate. Give the stream a like, guys. Don't forget YouTube. All right, so session open, guys, and we've closed below resistance here. So still no confirmation just yet for an entry here on gold. Let's have a look at pound yen here, and we are right now at some 4-hour support. Finally triggering some buyers, but there is no confirmation whatsoever for me to take a trade here on pound yen as well. So just patiently waiting. Heading GU closed above support. Wow. All right, and there really is no confirmation for me to buy it as well.
Nothing.
No, that's just choppy price action.
I'm hoping that we close below on the M50 strong.
Yep.
And then maybe take sells, but right now, so could be a patient game, because
Correct.
right now we are consolidating maybe in this area, so I need a clear move to the upper or to the lower side.
Yep.
And then to decide.
I agree, mate.
To take sells.
Just needs to wait yet again. London, excuse me. London open candle, no upper wick.
Yeah.
And perhaps the news now filtering through yet again. How's EU looking? Oh.
And this was I speculating at the end, yeah. So
yeah,
we would close bearish on the M50, and then maybe having this in mind, and then maybe take the sells.
Yep. Yeah, I think that'd be
it. The level of it. This is the point. It's not the level.
No. Look at gold. Just heavy consolidation here on gold. Very, very tricky proceedings at the minute. Just need to patiently wait. Miri, GU looks bullish, bro. Yeah, I agree. There's definitely potential for it to move to the upside. It's respecting structure on the 15. Not that I worry so much about that. I'm more concerned by the 30-minute structure itself. But we did see potential for sells if priced on the 15 closed bearish engulfing, which it did not do. It actually closed back above support. So, I mean, if it was to begin to break that previous 30-minute candles high, there's a good chance it will make a move back up. But it's just not a catalyst for me. There is no price action signal here that I'm familiar with to take an entry off the back of that. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, play to your strengths. So for me, I don't have any signal there. So there is nothing that I would determine to be a strength of mine to take a trade in accordance to this price action. Justin A.C.T, gotcha with gold, Lithuanian male. Name always has AS in the end. Okay. Nice one. Nice to have you on the stream, my friend. To my Thai friend, appreciate the rose. Thank you very much. We'll be heading to Thailand in a few months from now. Should have a meetup. Oh, mate, you're up for that? I know you've been calling for it for a while. Brian Inman, thank you for your guidance. I've been following your streams since the days of Todd Capital. Nice one, mate. Appreciate it. And thank you for jumping across as well. Carl, you always up for it? Nice one, mate. We'll have to organize something. Once again, we're just consolidating here on gold. There really is nothing I can do about it. Except wait, if that's to be the case, and obviously I'll be coming back a little bit later with my team to see where price is at and what we can come up with. Excuse me. So what's the deal, guys? Who is currently in trades for London Open? I'm assuming there's quite a few of you silently sitting there in the background. Feel free to let me know. Byron, you may have, stop loss might have been hit on the runner at break even, but nonetheless you did secure some profit, so well done. Lurching, I took a sell for £30. I'm happy with that. Just started Friday and been enjoying your stream. Nice one, mate. And that's good. It's good you're not being greedy as well. You're happy with taking some money from the market. So glad you appreciate the stream, and stick around, mate. You'll eventually learn quite a lot from being here. And always feel free to ask questions. Best way to learn, guys, is through asking questions. Let me know what you want me to cover. If there's anything you want me to go over. Unless you ask, you never know. So you got burnt yesterday for £300, but up 200 for the 4 days training. Okay, so just be careful. Make sure you are practicing some proper risk management. You knowing what you're risking per trade. Don't over risk. Have like a percent. I would stick to no more than about 2% a trade. And once you gain more experience and you see some consistency in your trading, that's when you can perhaps look to up your risk. So what I do is I risk fixed lot sizes. So my risk, as in regards in terms of percentage per trade, is it's variable. It's not fixed, because it will depend on where my stop loss is. And what I do is, if it's what I deem to be A+, so all this is in my group in the grading the entry series. If I deem it to be the top end of the trade type, like the entry, I will go my full risk. So my biggest lot size. If it's still a really good entry, but maybe missing one little thing, or for instance, we might not have as much margin to target, then I might go my second risk level. And if it is a little bit more based on intuition, and these are for kind of the trades that I might take towards the end of the week. If I've had a really good week, I'm really willing to, you know, risk a little bit of the profit, then I'll go lower end risk on a trade that's still a good entry, still probable. But again, it might be missing one or two little things. But never will I take an entry as not valid. Even yesterday, the trade I took, which I called out in my members group, it was valid, but it was missing something, and it didn't work. It was missing a retest. So what happens? I had the validation, I had the price close below the support, it just didn't retest. I had about 6 pips on the table and then quickly flipped the opposite way very quickly. Mufasa, are you on trade? No, I'm not in any trade at the minute. Lurching, sometimes I can't fight that urge to trade. The experience you talked about is so true. Very true. Very true, my friend. So once again, it's all about patience, and the more you get into your training, you're going to start to respect that and realize it is so important. It is probably the most important skill set you'll need as a trader. No matter what your training style is, even if it's swing trading, micro scalping, intraday trading, day trading scalping, it all comes down to patience and waiting for your plan to present and come to you. It's the most difficult part of training. Trust me, I lacked it, and for the first 3 years or so of my training, I was getting nowhere. The amount of traders who come to me with the exact same story, and I've actually been able to help them to progress becoming competent traders, it's unbelievable, because that is the reality of it. Most people lack the all-important discipline. Patience and discipline, it is absolute key in this game. All Porsche do the same thing every day. Stick to rules and don't overcomplicate it. Eat, sleep, trade, repeat. 100%, mate. Exactly how I go about it. You just got to be robotic. Just listen, Jay. Thank you, mate. Byron took a short on gold at 33.73, 28, secure 10. Not breaking. All right, interesting. So yeah, again, that's the beauty of trading. So in amongst all this, I just don't see any entry. But some of you are making some profit in the meantime. Some of you are taking some losses too and not mentioning it, but all good. But again, for me, there is nothing at the minute. Royal Influence, g'day to you, mate. Hope you're well. Jashio, for some reason that name always throws me off. Getting in, sell, hold. Okay. Lurching, my account is only £450 at the moment. If listened to you yesterday, I'd been 1,000. Yeah, well, again, mate, you're in the right place now, so just continue to turn up on the daily, and that account will slowly begin to head back up if you follow along. Royal Influence, send me the Discord. Click on the link in my profile, mate. That's the easiest way, because I can't send links into the YouTube TikTok chat. Byron, short was based on M15 resistance before the start on London session, but I was like, okay, price tapping in, fair enough. Yep, I understand that, irrespective of it, you know, what I see here, which is just consolidation. I do respect that some of you have entries and are trading accordingly, so well done. Wow, look at you now. Oh well, Franco, looks like you're going to be looking for buys from support. And at least it's still with the 30-minute structure here, so that's a good thing. And it's a clean move.
Yeah, correct. So that's the point, clear move at the end.
Yep, 100%.
Also not having this upper wick.
Yep. Could eventually pop back up to credit.
Correct.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is very nice margin there also.
Yeah.
If you look to the bottom side, so we are talking about 21 pips. So yeah, you can gain at least 10 pips out of that.
Yep, I think you could have some good options moving forward. Lurching, my biggest downside is not knowing where to put my stop loss. Sometimes it's too tight. Yeah, look, again, try to use a technical level. So for me, technical levels are, for instance, if I was trying to sell GU here, my stop loss would have been above the previous candle's high. And as soon as we get triggered in, what I would likely do is just adjust stop loss to the entry candle's high. So you can have lower low, lower high. You'd have necessarily no need to pull back and break your own high if you were to continue bearish. If it did, likely it's just grab liquidity from the downside in order to push back up in line with the actual structure itself. So always trying to use the technical level. And I mean, technical levels technically are swing points, things like that, but As a scalper, and seeing I'm only looking for small moves within the market, I tend to use previous candles highs or lows. Oops. Excuse me. Chauncey holding it by 33.65. Okay, nice one. Hopefully, again, you got a trade plan and you are safely at break even, and hopefully you secured some profit, because the reality is here we're just stuck in consolidation. Miri G looks bullish. Yeah, you said that before. It still is on the 30-minute for sure. I agree. But just because the structure might be bullish, again, doesn't mean we can just buy it off the back of that. We need to patiently await the confirmation, because at the minute you're trying to catch a falling knife and it is just melting. So don't want to get cut open. So we patiently wait for confirmation of support, and before you can look for a more probable buy, in my personal opinion. Been tough on stream this week, guys. We haven't really had any solid confirmation other than Monday. Olja 1921, come on, gold. Dean Clapnet, no, I've not looked at NAS yet for today. I can do so for you right now. Alright, so it appears to be a bit of a sell-off. Perhaps off the back of the news out of from CPI yesterday. Looking at it starting on the weekly time frame, what we can see is it is pulling back quite significantly within its own candle now. It has got a high low, higher high. Off the back of that, for was to continue bullish, there has not much of a need to pull back and break its own low. And if it does so, potentially we could have grabbed liquidity from the upside in order to make the move further to the downside. On to the daily time frame, and the structure here is technically bullish, but what we do have is counter probabilities now to the downside. So irrespective of the structure, if you're scalping it, this would favor the sells in my personal opinion. However, having said that, similar to what I mentioned but in the opposite direction on the weekly, here on the daily we've got lower low, lower high. So if we were to continue bearish now, we really haven't much of a need to pop back up and break our own high. We do so, we'll be breaking resistance formed at the current daily candles high. That could provide a potential entry point for a buy option above that level. On to the 4-hour time frame, structurally that also is bullish. Not only that, we are bouncing off the support, and we do have counter probabilities to the upside, so that would favor the buys, and that would be a really good indication for me to look for an option to buy it. So we got a little bit of we've got some conflicting stories here on the different time frames. Now onto the 30, and that is technically bearish in structure. So for me on NAS, quite simple, my plan of attack. I would be personally waiting for seeing, now it's already more than halfway into the range after bouncing off the support. The options would be for me to either wait for it to once again pop back down and look for a price action catalyst to form yet again from above the support here, of that 4-hour support around that 21,770 sort of region. Aside from that, I'd be allowing this pullback to do its thing and wait to see how price reacts to what I call the last significant lower high here on a 30-minute time frame. And if it does reject, respect, then I'd be looking for an option to sell it. So sells back below that point there. Now, if we in fact close above it though, we have a catalyst, and that would be to buy, because at that point there, we're going to flip the structure back bullish here on the M30 time frame. So I'd be looking for the buys above 21,884 or 885, that sort of region, and that is how I'd be looking at NAS. And if you just to drag this support down, you've also got some clean traffic below 21,691.86, and you're safely below the 4-hour support at that point there. So that is my opinion of NAS. Make that what you will, but don't forget, in order to thank me for doing that for you, don't forget to smash that screen. Or Porsche, even when you win a trade, make sure it's for the reasons you know and not to gamble. Yeah, 100%. Analyze wins and losses extensively, 100%. I always say that to all my guys. You need to journal. It's so important to journal. Don't forget to do it. Don't be lazy. Trust me. You'll thank me moving forward. It's tedious. It's time consuming. I used to hate doing it, especially after a loss. But then I started to realize it wasn't that bad. Like, even journaling a loss, I was doing it so I could learn, so I could try to minimize my losses. And actually got to a point where I started to enjoy journaling. I went into a lot of detail. I still do to this day. Every single trade is journaled other than the trade ideas, because it's pretty much the results are there. But every other trade is journaled just here in my trade journal. Every trade called on any of these streams or any NY call with the team. I also add a video. That's how much detail I go into. And you need to do the same, guys. Trust me. I've got a section. I add confluences, some dot points. I need to tick off at least 3 confluences prior to any entry. And I go into a bit of detail as to what happened, why I took it. Record a little video. Send in screenshots. So on and so forth. And that's what you really need to do if you want to level up. Nobody's perfect. Remove distractions. Yep. I was about to say something, but got to be very careful. I don't want to upset the people. So some people probably know what I was thinking anyway. Some of the gents. Just having a laugh, guys. Nothing's not being serious. All Porsche trick is why. Why am I trading? Why am I taking this trade? Exactly. Mate, take the words right in my mouth. I used to always say the same. Why did you take the trade? What was your confirmation? What happened? I'm Robbie. How you doing? Long time. Yep. Good to have you on the stream, mate. Hope you're well. Or Porsche, I've noticed this time of month, every month it's messed around. What are you talking about? Gold? Consolidating? Byron, gold retraced to break even, watching it go lower without me and trying not to FOMO. No FOMO, mate. No FOMO on this stream. Carl, I think you know what I'm talking about. Mine's not here anyway, so I can say it at the minute. Soon to return though, so I'll have to be very careful. Is this gold? Spike Trader? Yeah, yes, this is gold. Brown Pacific Laughs. What is this? This is Forex trading, mate. So looking at gold. So technically metals trading at the minute. D-Man, come on to you. Training education. I've never traded yet. So it's free training education. That's what this stream is all about. Really low numbers on TikTok today. All right, let's quickly do the rounds. GU still making its way back down. EU, nothing there. GA almost at some support here. It's still structurally bullish. So I would be preferring the buy options here on GA. Not sure when I last charted this pair, but that level still looks like a pretty realistic level for a pullback. Or just adjust it up a little bit now. What else have we got? AU heading down, not good. EuroCAD looking very similar to GA. EuroCAD looks pretty good. If it does pull back to support here, it's definitely bullish in structure on the 30-minute time frame. Often, guys, I could just trade off looking at 2 different time frames, the daily and the 30. The daily is a high, low, high, high. It could come back down to break its own low, but for me, it'll be all about this support. And if it respects it, 156.90, I'd be looking for options to buy it. If it starts to pop a lot, I'd be looking for options to sell it. Used to love trading EuroCAD, but have not traded it for a couple of years now. Wow. How's gold, guys? How is gold at the minute? Very, very tricky. It's just not offering anything. So the back of the news I heard today about gold, I so close to FOMOing into actually buying more physical, to be honest. No FOMO when it comes to trading, but when it comes to purchase of, because the thing is, guys, if you have it in your hand, they can't take it away from you. If it's on a piece of paper or on the computer, all they can do is click of a button, your wealth is cancelled. It can happen, honestly. Can't be daft, guys.
You don't have access to it, and so on and so on. So
exactly,
it's quite different if you have this physically.
Very different. If you got physical,
Germany,
it's
for
yours.
example,
Sorry.
Yeah, here in Germany, for example, if you are going to buy gold in a certain amount,
yep,
you have to leave your name, your address.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
And you know why? And you know why?
Yeah, because the government wants to know about it. So.
Correct. And if they are, and if they need
tax
it,
office,
they will come to you.
Yep.
And will take it.
Correct. Yeah, it's the same here. So that's 5k. So that's less than an ounce of gold at the minute. So it's a little bit unfortunate. However, silver.
Is there a restriction on silver?
No, it's the same. 5k. Any transaction here, less than 5k in cash. Not investment advice. Jashio, quick scalp, 112 pound gold amount. Okay, nice one.
So G was stepped to the H4 level.
Oh, yeah, let me...
At least my...
Oh, yeah, it has. No, it definitely has. Definitely. Yep. So now you can start to look for some price action catalysts to the upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe my plan would be having a M30 candle bullish, nice bullish candle, and then maybe a week 15-minute candle.
Yep.
And then take in some buys.
Nice one. That's a very familiar price action pattern for us, guys. And one that's of very high probability. So Franco is saying looking for 30 to close back bullish. You may consider also within it if the final 15 close weak bearish. Closing the M30 still back strong bullish above the resistance and above the support, sorry. And then if it begins to break above the high or the candle that forms resistance within the M30, you could have an option to take a buy from support. At that point, breaks the resistance, it's highly probable it's going to continue to the upside. If it respects resistance, and maybe this bullish candle could just be a bit of a pause and price might continue to push to the downside. So whether that happens within your catalyst 30-minute candle, or if it happens on the following M30, the first 15 minutes, that's just something I've been waiting for to see, and if it did present, it would be valid. One of my favorite price action signals. And like I said before, guys, play to your strengths. That's what you want to see happen. Wait for it to happen. Excuse me. Oh, liking that. Silver dropping. Keep those questions coming, guys. TikTok. And guys, just remember also, if you want to know anything, or just if you want to say g'day, you're more than welcome just to contact me and say hello. I'll reply to every message, but never ever respond to a message from someone who claims to be me if they initiate contact, because it's definitely not me. I will never initiate contact. I always recommend you guys sending me a message first, and then I'll happily reply to any message. Some of you just send a message, say hello, and I appreciate it. At least I know I'm having some sort of impact on your, your training. So always feel free to say g'day. Don't be shy. Molly Grubs, do you trade orb, order block, 15-minute breakout? Look, it all depends on, again, I have strict rules. So for me, breakouts, I have some really strict rules when it comes to impulse entries above or below support above a resistance. So for instance here, personally, I'd be avoiding the breakout, for reason being that 15-minute, you're at consolidation, at some resistance further to the left. So I'd rather a stronger confirmation in this situation. That is plain simply the closure above. But otherwise, I have a very strict rule, and that rule is has to close very strong towards the high of the zone. So you can use the FIP again, as long as it's above to 50%, then that would be a strong enough catalyst for me to start to contemplate some impulse entries above the resistance here. Prior to it, I definitely need to see a lower wick on the following candle, and then it would be a valid entry. So I don't just buy stop, sell stop when we're in the middle of consolidation. So there is absolutely no clear direction at the minute here on gold. Just again, it's just a matter of waiting, guys. Just in a SID, NASDAQ dropped as well now. Yeah, NASDAQ's also in some consolidation here at the minute. So as I mentioned earlier, NASDAQ, my plan would be for it to pop back down to this 4-hour support. And obviously I want it to make a clean move back down. And then just to wait for, first of all, confirmation of support forming, and then a catalyst within price action. Personally, don't trade NASDAQ. For reason being that I'm not usually trading so long into the MY session itself. Excuse me. All right, so gold trying to make its way down. Let's see if we can get a closure below the support here. Because like I mentioned, at that point there, if we do close below the support, then there is a good chance that we're going to actually come back down to create a lower wick on the daily time frame. So we have tapped into a resistance here on the daily as well. A potential reversal point. Just now patiently need to wait for our confirmation. Byron took another short on gold. Okay. Saw the M15 closed in bullish support zone, but the candle structure suggests it's bearish. Move to break even after 10 pips secured. 30 pips for today. Nice one. Just, yeah, don't overtrade, mate. You've had a good day, so don't be greedy. I mean, in the end of the day, you can do what you like, but that's just my personal opinion. Wow, look at the volume here on gold. Alrighty guys, I need to wait. Not trying anymore for the session. Alright, so still considering MY. Alright mate, as long as you got a plan. Sydney, what is the support level again? Well, I wanted to close below. Let me actually mark it in here. 3357.87 to be exact is where I want price to begin to close below. Now we're coming from pretty much the daily high at this point. So the two options I might have here are limit order sells on the 15, or just patiently waiting for the next 15 to close weak bullish below. That is the best, and that is definitely the better of the two options. The continuation sells at this point, I'm not liking as much because, I mean, this is the move. Wow, look at this. Not sure if there's any breaking news. Let's just quickly check that. Does not seem to be, unless if someone can dig up anything, please share with us. Let us know. No, I don't see anything. Maybe it's just rejecting the daily high, Asian session highs, and obviously sweeping the daily low. It's now created a lower wick. Alright, so here's what it is. Similar thing happened yesterday, guys, but to the upside. So now it's my obligation to reassess and see what we could potentially look for moving forward. Now we're still, the way I see it, we are still technically bullish here on a 30, as long as we remain above these lows. So another potential pullback point here could be, that's a blue zone, it's a 30-minute zone. Could be this 3340, 3344, 42 to 44 sort of region. So have a look at the 15. I'm gonna pop that up, and yeah, those two levels. So if price was to approach 3346.86, you could look for a confirmation. Now the other thing I will be considering is a limit order here, guys. If this 15 closes as is, we've tapped into this target, but we've pushed through it. I will contemplate the sell limit order. So that would be at the low of this support, the 30-minute level. The issue is stop loss. Wow, stop loss is going to be a big one. Let's just measure this. Yeah, 120 pips. That's the move, guys. That is the move. Fortunately, there is not a great deal I can do about it. So other than now, just wait for it to form support. I can't go in with 120 pip stop. That's the only technical level. Even if I was just to put the stop loss just back above that support, it's not a technical level. And even then, it's still a wide stop. Yeah, even then, you're looking at plus 70 pips. So unfortunately, it is what it is, guys. The moves just come out of the middle of nowhere. I can't really do a thing about it. GJ starting to look a little bit better. So we're starting to now form that the first early signs of a bit of structure from this level of support here. Still not enough to confirm any buy entry. Don't even have an hourly closing back bullish just yet. It's a tough one again, guys. But Landland, you know what? This makes me excited. Very, very excited. I almost bought before the start of the stream today. Almost. And I thought, no, hang on. Glad I did. Might be getting it for a few bucks cheaper now, so that's the way I see it. I just see it as an opportunity. That's all. JVix, no major news. Low key Muslim. Trump speaking. I don't know, is he? Just now said Trump winked an eye and the market dropped. That could be correct. That could be correct. Low key Muslim. I think good relationships of America and China. Really good. To be honest, what I see about China, I think it looks fascinating. It looks beautiful. It looks clean. It looks like they don't have issues with crime and drugs and that type of thing. I mean, look at America now. God, all the riots going on. It's not just LA now. I think it's pretty much nationwide. All right, gold is Gonski. I want to check the 1 minute here just briefly. Nah, still nothing there. So it is what it is, guys. That's the fact of the matter is sometimes we need to accept that that's the move. We're not in it. With some of you might be, but I'm not. So for me now, the only option is to wait for some support to form or await a pullback and lower high. Very simple. As data prints, you just need to reassess. That's all we can do as a trader. There is no FOMO. There is no jumping into a sell. It is what it is. I didn't have the right confirmation. I did mention it earlier though, that usually in this situation, it's a build-up of liquidity in the market for it to either A, create a nice move down, or B, a nice clean move up. And that's exactly what it's done. What it will do sometimes is it will create that move and close just below our level, and that will give us the opportunity to take advantage of it, or just above our level and also give us an opportunity to take advantage of it to the upside. And then there's going to be occasions like so where it just melts and really isn't much we can do about it. As soon as you can accept that, appreciate it, and realize it's okay not to always be involved, you're gonna become a lot more confident and comfortable on the charts. You might feel happy here if you took the entry. Next time it may do the complete opposite, and then you hold on thinking, nah, it's got to do the same thing as the last time, and it just rips to the other side. So just be wary of that. Sydney 3369. What, sell? Nice one. Grid, wait and wait. That's all we can do. Wow, look at this. There must be something happening. So glad I didn't buy any silver before the stream. Come on, you good thing. Keep on dumping. I swear I was so close to him. I was at that point where I almost clicked. Nah, hold off. No major use showing in UK yet, Mark? No, I can't see anything as well. Simo, should I go long? I would not personally go long. I wouldn't try to catch a falling knife at the minute. Here's what it is, guys. The markets have spoken. And now I just need to wait. There's not much I can do at all. Not going to force a way in. There is no FOMO. Alright, so there must be, from what I can see, the majors are taking a bit of a dump as well. So, EU holding strong. AU is dying. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, so it must be strength in the DXY. Not really. Interesting. There you go. Yes, the candle's pretty bullish against the gold bearish candle. But it's still very bearish. The DXY is extremely bearish. EU is holding very strong though. So EU, there's must be strength in the euro at the minute. Let's have a look at EJ. Yeah, also moving to the upside. EA. It's definitely ripping to the upside. EA, wow, breaking out. Into clean traffic as well. EA looking very, very good for anyone who does trade it. If it doesn't just go. Yeah, buys above that level there. 177705. Wow, this thing's really high up at the minute. Euro CAD, yeah, so definitely some euro strength.
On GU, nice close on the M50, but unfortunately at 50.
Oh, bearish engulfing, yeah. Need deeper upper wick though.
Yeah, but you know, I'm not taking this on the M50 as confirmation.
Yeah, that's fair enough. The one thing I would consider is the limit order, but you'd have to focus on that level.
So if this would be maybe gold, this would be a nice entry.
Yeah, correct, because it's not made the entire move, but on GU, we know that for the most part, it doesn't make massive moves. 15 has already made it quite a significant move, so you're then counting on the second 15 minute of the M30, you know, continuing your 10, 15, 20 pips to the downside, which it could do, but as Franco mentioned, it's not as probable on GU, so best to wait for it to reset here. Maybe wait for a little weak 15-minute bullish candle pause, and that would do the trick as long as we do remain below the previous support here. Mark, all good, mate. Appreciate the support again. Then, no idea, mate. Can't see any breaking news, but yeah, maybe just a healthy pullback. Something's going on behind the scenes for it. Could be. It's going down, down, down. Justin, yep. Giggles, 33 incoming. Would be nice, but still a fair way to go. Gold trader, so if these candles 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour drop, $100, you will not short. Oh, you mean like after a big significant move? No, I need to let it reset. I need to await another signal within price action, because I need to accept the fact that this is the current move. I didn't have a signal to take a sell within it, so I need to let it reset. I'm not going to chase it below the low, because that will be, you know, how after the fact, more than 300 pips. It's dumped $30 in 15 minutes here. Gold flying down then, yep. Gold trade, how was there no signal to sell in this move? For me, there wasn't. I'm not saying it was not a trade for anyone, but for me, there's no signal. Within my rulebook, my personally created course, I had no signal there. If you have one, please share, let us know. I personally didn't have a signal. I'm not going to sell stop when it's come from well above the support. No chance in an uptrend. Because it could have done what all these other counters have done at that level, bounce off it, hit back up. So to me, it's no signal. I'm not saying it's a stupid trade or anything. I just didn't have a price action catalyst to take an entry. I need to accept that. Gold trade, yeah, trading price action. But so what you're telling me, trading price action, if price moves into that level, you just have to sell it? Is that your argument? What's your argument? What's your argument, mate? I had no sell because I was above support. I'm not selling into it, selling into all these wicks. There's no clean areas within price action. The cleanest area is below this point here. I don't want to take the impulse entry coming from so far back, so I need to patiently wait for it to close below. I did say earlier, there is a chance it could just dump or pump whilst it's stuck in consolidation, grabbing liquidity. So I need to be patient. I need to wait for my signal. I didn't have one. Plain and simple. Had I just self-stopped that point there and got wrecked, I would be so disappointed. I'd be really, really disappointed. And if any of my guys took it, I'd be pretty disappointed too, to be honest. Karanja gold trade was an uptrend and it's from, yep, Bonanza. I've been investing, okay, on Forex to increase my income. I'm a veteran. I just watch the streams and learn a lot about price action. Dogen, his rules are on the chart, my guy. Oh, obvious entry there. Exactly. It's just me following my rules, mate. That's all I'm doing. If you don't understand, you don't understand. What can I do, mate? I'm not gonna... I've explained why I didn't take the entry. What more do you want me to do? I've gone down to the 5 minute. I don't trade the 5 minute, so there is no entry for me. I don't trade the 1 minute. I trade to my strengths, and that's, again, I've said it already like 4 times on the stream today. And impulse entries from above support or below resistance are not my strength. It's not an entry for me. I don't see any entry here personally. Not saying that, you know, for someone else they might not be, but for me there was no entry. Because on another day, if I try to sell it, I'd get wrecked. Again, it's probabilities, mate. I'm just trading in line with what I believe or what I deem to be a high probability. At the minute, I don't have anything of high probability. It's plain and simple. Simath, everyone going buy now. Adem, I got in last night, 33.20, got out today. 30, nice one. Dogen, that's 30 plus within 1 15-minute cancel. Sometimes you just won't catch those moves. That exactly. And I'm completely aware of that. Imbalance, don't trade them. Gold trader, what does the market have to do for you to buy now? To buy now, I need, first of all, confirmation, especially off the back of this move. I need a 30-minute support. And my catalysts are, and if the first one's to present, there's no trade again. Because my catalysts are either, once again, this is for education, bullish engulfing. If it closes bullish engulfing, obviously stop loss is massive. There is no margin to buy it back up to the resistance. So it's not the catalyst, as good as a catalyst as it might be, it's not what I want to see here. So in order for me to buy it, I need to wait for, first of all, 30 minutes close back bullish, back above. Then I want to see what's going on within the 30-minute candle. So perhaps we might have this sort of situation where the first 15-minute candle closes maybe like so. And the second 15-minute candle might close like so. Bullish engulfing. Closing the M30 looking like that. That's a signal. Or could be the opposite way around, where the first 15-minute candle closes strong bullish. And the second 15-minute candle forms a minor resistance, closing weak bearish. Off the back of that, that's when I can use the fib to determine whether or not this is a weak or a strong bearish candle closure. and that would determine whether I can take an impulse entry as price begins to break the minor pause and the high of the M30, or whether I need to wait another 15 minutes for price to close back above. So once again, off the back of that sort of price action formation, the M30 is going to look a little bit like this. And once again, I've got support on the 30 at a previous level here to the left, and within it I've got a price action catalyst to look for a buy so long as we got a lower wick on the new candle and price begins to break above. That's where the buy stop would be placed. So that's the kind of situation or price action catalyst pattern, whatever you like to call it, that I'd be looking out for in this situation. And once again, that's just me playing to my strengths. That's all I'm doing. There is no FOMO. I'm more than accepting of the fact that I'm going to miss a lot of moves. But this is the type of situations or scenarios, what I've just drawn, that if I just patiently wait for it to present, it's going to likely end up being in a nice probable and, you know, nice win. Just that's off the back of the data I've accumulated over the past, you know, also 5-6 years scalping, but more than 8 years in total. So that's the type of thing I'll be looking for. Because off gold, yes, this is gold. Mary G is very bullish. They are trying to take out many buyers before the bullish impulse move. Did you get in that sell, Omar? No, just there was no confirmation. Buy gold now? Not just yet. There is still not the right confirmation. I don't know this is gold, but you should put the pair somewhere on the screen. It is there, mate. It's in the background. I've got to be very careful because TikTok are pretty strict with it all, so. Adam, 100% it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's it. You got to accept the fact that you can't be in every move. Oh my, got in 5-minute fair value. Yep. Getting filled at the top. Okay, nice one. Again, that's fine, guys. If you're trading, you know, your strategy, if you have the right confirmation, right signal, by all means. I don't trade fair value ups. I simple price action. My panda, hello to you. Is this gold, Tina? Yeah, yes it is. My panda, I want to ask you something. Go ahead, my friend. Ask away. Was Blom better a buy? At this rate, I would prefer to buy it from the current level, but I need to await a catalyst. Adem, all good. When it closed, Quasar, yeah, you need to wait, personally. Like I mentioned before, I still want a 30-minute to close back bullish. Narendra, the US dollar index gained ground this week, dampening demand for gold. The Dixie, it actually looks like it's gone down this week, to be honest, but anyway. How about Olymp trade app? Is it good or no? To be honest, I'm not familiar with Olymp trade app. Yeah, I can't comment because I'm not familiar with it. I do use TradingView, obviously, to chart and do my markups. I use MetaTrader to execute trades through my broker's account, and that's what I do. Ali, can you show confirmation candle if it is a buy? I just did about 2-3 minutes ago. I think that's Korean, if I'm not mistaken. Just sold my gold assets. Okay. I'm personally not selling my gold assets. That's for my little man, for his future. Oboff Xness, good. Alrighty team, well, nothing's going to eventuate right now, so I'm going to get going. I'm going to go make some dinner. 15's closed bullish, so again, as I mentioned before, I still want a confirmation here on the M30. The good news is it has triggered in some buys at this previous level of support, so moving forward, if price was to yet again engulf to the downside, the sells would be once again valid. I would have now a signal. That's what I need to wait for if I want to look for a sell option moving forward. Otherwise, sells upon the pullback. And what I'm looking for is exactly what I mentioned before to the upside. So I want the confirmation on the M30 first of all, and I want to see what's going on within it. I want a little bit of a resistance forming on the 15-minute time frame, or perhaps 15 bearish followed by bullish engulfing, closing the M30 back bullish. So as I mentioned before, GJ still not yet formed really any structures. Trying to, at the minute, still nothing yet to give me any reason to encourage me to look for buys. And in fact, it looks like we still could continue to the downside. In regards to the downside, we are at some very strong support, so it's going to be tricky selling it in my personal opinion. In this situation, I'd rather let it create the first move, pull back, open up the range to the downside, and then look for a potential sell upon the pullback. And if it does provide the option to buy it, once again, my catalyst in this situation is a 4-hour candle, and it's a fair way off that happening, and wait a bit of structure to form within that candle. Otherwise, if it does pop straight up, that is your level to look out for if price was to reject 195.50 or options to sell. And that is how I will be approaching things moving forward, guys. Thank you one all for joining. If you've not already done so, TikTok, there's 150 of you on the call just now. Make sure to follow. Do this on the daily. And if you want to know any more about what I do, feel free to send me a message. And also just feel free to say g'day. I always reply to every message anyone sends to me. YouTube, thank you one and all for your support as per usual. The same crew, I appreciate you guys. Take care, have a good one. Trade safe. Tomorrow I will be back on from about 30 minutes prior to London Open for Friday's end of week stream. To my team, I will keep in touch with you guys. I'll probably see you in about an hour and a half from now. But we'll jump on a call.
Thanks, Justin.
Cheers, mate. And to all the other guys, take care. YouTube, TikTok, once again, appreciate the support. Until next time, go well, my friends. Cheers. Bye, guys.